like at the beginning you kind of set an overall theme. Yes, that was your intention, to set an overall theme of growing internationally. So
Did he stick to that theme?
I don't think you stuck to the theme, but I think that's where you were trying to go with it. So
Where did he get derailed at?
once you just got, like, when you jumped right into the pricing, that's kind of where I got thrown off.
Okay. John, give me something good.
I thought your presentation of, even though it's a simple solution, paperless invoicing, in regards to how it's going to streamline, reduce, and save time, that's big for a client who doesn't have a large workforce. So ultimately, you don't want to be expanding time for people that you really don't have. So I thought that was a good explanation.
Frank, give me something good.
I thought it was pretty, like, you covered the gamut on the stuff, so you had a lot of ideas in there. I think that was good.
I think you demonstrated really good methods of paper about throwing the savings away.
You like that? That's a pretty cool thing.
I thought you had a good war story at the beginning to kind of set, I thought you set it off in the right tone.
Yeah, like you built rapport at
Yeah.
the beginning too.
Matt, what do you think you did well?
Argue with them, not be afraid to argue, because that happens all the time in real life. Like this situation, you always have, everything's perfect, they still don't understand it. And I genuinely don't let them go into it if they don't understand it.
All right, so I gotta stop you right there. Your argument side, you say that's a good thing, you argue. All right, tell me how you think that's how do you feel that that's a good thing, I should say.
Because if you're lackadaisical, it doesn't show you care. Like if I'm arguing, my point that I was arguing was that I wanted them to be confident. And if I was a good account manager, I would want them to do that. If I was lackadaisical, I'd just say, oh, okay, whatever, go ahead. I wanted Lou to understand that, like, if you don't understand something, I want you to first. And I wouldn't let it go, because if it ever came back, then they would be like, well, I just didn't know in the first place.
So I get your passion towards it, like that you care about that. So I can handle that. But I think what's getting missed here is that you kept saying, I just want you to be confident. I just want you to be confident. And every time you kept saying that, I think Lou got less confident as you were going through there. And why do you think that he was saying, hey, put the stuff in, go ahead and just put it in, and then you're like, well, I want you to wait a second. And you're like, well, hey, you're telling me this is good, or Lou says this is good, now you're telling me to wait. So what do you think the message kind of started to fall flat at?
Well, I was going back to when he's like, well, if I don't understand your I don't understand the rest of it. And I hung on that because I don't want it to come back and if something doesn't work, like, oh, well, hey, I said that. Like, I wanted to clear the air, make sure we're on the same page.
So do you think that your credibility took a hit based on that pricing situation?
Yeah, but I think it bounced back really quickly. I would be able to get him something back right away.
Do you think it would have been improved if you would have had that up front, ready to go, and more clear?
Yeah, it would have been a lot easier. But I wouldn't have gotten to practice a customer doing that because they do it all the time.
All right, so let's group here. So from him, he was develop a theme for your presentations, which you said he did in the beginning, and then it kind of went little south at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think you had some good ideas, and that's where you were trying to go with it, but then it just got derailed with the pricing.
Did the solutions relate to that theme that he put in place? And then was there an impact to the customer that the customer could clearly understand?
I mean, yes, in a sense. So I wrote down on here, for instance, when he was going down the capital route. So he wasn't actually speaking about insurance coverage. He was actually speaking about merchant services and fraud protection, which is something completely different than what the route he was going down. So I saw where he was going, but the service that he was talking about wasn't relevant, and it didn't really have an explanation in regards to, because even Lou said, like, okay, well, even if I process it with you guys, it still doesn't make me 100% confident. That would have been good to have known. Well, I'm talking about merchant services and the fraud protection that comes along with it. Just knowing a little tidbit about that may have helped, And then that's where you can kind of tie it off with, but I'll bring Dorothy in to kind of explain it more in detail. So I get where he was going with that and the impact it would have had, but it still created some confusion like, great, so I'm just going to process with you guys versus who I'm with now, but you're not giving me explanation as to how that's going to protect me.
Help me and educate me a little bit, because I know you know this capital
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah.
So, is fraud protection inclusive in our merchant services?
Yeah, it is. So it comes along with it. You get the benefit of if for any reason it was a fraudulent charge, which we're one of the only processing companies that can do it outside of, I think it's called World One, where we will give you the full money back if it is a fraudulent charge, as long as the investigation shows that it was a fraudulent charge. So there's ghost cards, there's people stealing cards, things like that. So ultimately, yes, we will cover the full cost.
So that explanation right there, what do you think that, how do you think if that would have been played out in this? What do you think, Matt, if you explained it that way?
Better.
Well, I know it's better.
So
but-
try it, let's hear it.
Wait,
Explain it the way he just
Can we
did.
add in one more thing?
No, I want him to try this first.
I'm not ready for it. I have to think about it a little bit more. I heard it just one.
Well, just say what he just said.
I can't really, yeah, I don't have to recall to do that.
So merchant services with the fraud protection will ensure that if there is a fraudulent charge, we will reimburse you 100% of the charge along with the transactional fees.
And who's the only one who does that?
We do. We're the only one that does that outside of World One, which World One is ran by Chase, which is the most expensive processing company out there, which our discount rate beats every time.
Okay, now you're adding too much.
Right,
because
right. No, yeah.
You're
Sorry.
sharing way too
Sorry,
much
but
with
yeah,
me. You're
there's only
clouding.
one other company that can do it. We're the only one that would be inclusive and basically do it at a faster rate too. So we get it back usually within 24 hours.
So Matt, I don't understand how this is really gonna help me, because whether I ship it with you or I ship it with them, I'm still facing these fraud charges. No?
I'm gonna be honest, I can't hear him.
Okay,
I'm
good enough.
sorry. Yeah,
That's all right, we're done.
thank you.
All right, so, hold on, we're not, officially not done.
I am.
I need, so for next one, what's an area we need to work on? So I think we still stay with go ahead.
I would say less small impact info and bring more big impact info. So like with all the service levels and stuff, like that was great, but I think had it just said, here's what you're doing, here's what you're gonna save, would have been more of an impact versus having columns of little different individual amounts that then you have to go into explaining more.
So we're gonna, so we need to, how can we say this?
Well, I think that we need to move away from the BET, because I'm looking on their website and their shipping policy basically says they have a fraud issue, right? So that, with a few bullet points, right, is gonna be more impactful than this broad overview of capital, right?
So from the, what
We
do you?
need to tailor it to the
So
customer.
we need to tailor these, but tailor the slide. All right. that's
Well, I
fine.
added that in because they were avoiding those shipments with those, and they were avoiding shipping out the ceramic stuff because claims was taking too long. So they were hitting 2 out of 3 categories. That's why I put that out there.
I think we agree that it's a good fit, but I think that part of what our slides need to do is trigger to us why we're positioning something, right?
Yeah.
Or if it gets passed along, so we know there's a fraud issue based on reading the shipping policy, right? That's an easy screen scrape, copy, put in a little box, like we're good, right? Or, or a box that says pinpoint, damages with the ceramic, you know what I'm saying? And then tie it to an exact solution, because saying, oh, there's this whole capital portfolio was probably too much on one side, when you had really good points for some solutions that capital has.
Yeah, I think that if you had also just a better understanding of the products, like with Worldies, maybe go into why they're a good candidate. So just having more of an understanding of the product so that he can explain why it's a good solution and why it's gonna help them.
So, all right, so I think, we still kind of come back to what we talked about before. We're gonna still develop the solutions that relate to that theme, the theme that we're talking about. So here's a theme, here's what's gonna apply to that. And it's exactly what we're saying. So I think it's the same type of situation, so we wanna make sure. The only last question I have is that, did he review with you before
No.
today? Okay, so, you got 3 things you're gonna add to your list. We're gonna develop the theme, same thing, develop solutions, we're gonna develop the theme and then tailor the slides to the theme. And then the last one is that you're going to review this next time with Molly before. And that way she can go through these and make sure that they are in line with what needs to take place and tells the correct story. Okay? Alright. Alright, Andy, you're
And
up.
maybe we should review one way to do the theme and the storyline before we do it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea too. So when you go to sit down and do this, put together an outline and, you know, and sit with Molly and just say, okay, what's the theme and what do we want to, how do we want to build this? And then you come back to her. You do these on Friday, so I would say, you know, the week beforehand, and then want to meet with her, talk to her, and just say, here's what I'm thinking, this is what we want to build.